little message to my new friends over at Explaining the Con. How the friends of Professor William Black and the investigative reporters, and editors group at the University of Missouri are trying to explain the financial crash of 2008. Well, as Bill Black knows, back in the days of the Arizona Project and Don Bowles and the, I guess it was the collapse of the PNC Bank and the land swindles up in the Poconos. And then, of course, you had the land swindles in the 1970s up in Utah and in Arizona and Texas and Florida. Florida's land swindles go back to the 1920s and even earlier. And then, of course, Bill Black probably knows who Stephen Pizzo is, and Mary Fricker, who wrote Inside Job, The Looting of America's Savings and Loans. I've been doing this, Bill, since before Stephen Pizzo's book came out. And you'll laugh when I tell you that it was a Reader's Digest story by Paul Friggins that kind of tuned me into what ultimately happened to Don Bowles. And Paul Friggins, his works that were entitled Beware of the Ranchero Racketeers. So yes, old Judson Witham has studied this and blown the whistle on it very loudly since the 1980s, the early 1980s, long before the name William Black became a household word. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, Explaining the Con. How you loot and launder trillions through the great American laundry. And what Bill will, Mr. Black, Professor Black will explain to everybody is that Chase and JP Morgan and Deutsche and Credit Suisse and people like Select Portfolio Services and old Gerald Cugno of Premier Mortgage Funding and Paramount and Pioneer Mortgage Funding and this group called Texas Lending and Aspire Mortgage Financing and WAMU and Taylor Bean and Whitaker and Superior Bank, let's not forget the Western Banks and Westgate Investments and RLG, Rita Labobetti Group, the holding companies associated, Bill Black, with Purple Capital. The massive swindles during Iran-Contra in Houston, Texas, all over Texas, Bill, as you well know. Cat Wolford, she got the name the White Elephant Lady. I was around in the early days of the Houston Post stories about how Houston's banks and S&Ls were looted stupid. There's some good research for you. Look that up. Looted Stupid by Judson Witham. The Houston Post and Houston Chronicle produced many articles on what I'm telling you about in this video. So I'm going to send this video up to my friends at the Con Explained. And they want to know how it affected people's lives. Well, you know, when you're woken up in the middle of the night and you got an FBI FLIR plane dropping flares all over your house, it gets your attention. That's kind of how it affected my life. And to all the writers and all the participants in the Con Explained, I'll tell you one thing for positive certain. I've got more records to back up what I'm telling you about than anybody would believe, except maybe Bill Black. Bill Black knows. And Cat Wolford, let's see if we can get old Cat Wolford. Last time I heard, she was working for the World Bank as some kind of a corruption consultant. Maybe Bill Black knows how to get a hold of Cat Wolford. And we can talk about Western Bank Houston. Cat Wolford told me Western Bank Houston was the dirtiest bank in town. And that was in a one-on-one discussion early in the 80s about how the Arabs associated with George Bush and Oliver North and Richard Secord and Admiral Poindexter and Bill Casey and Bud McFarland, how that whole bunch running the Iran-Contra affair with the Clintons and the Bushes and Donald Trump. Imagine that, Donald Trump, you were involved with it too, with Khashoggi and Ghazanfar and the Triad Development Group. Man, oh man, Don, you are so busted. And the LDS Mormon Church, and I can continue, but Bill Black will fill you in on a little bit of Martin Harris's hat and the CIA bank looting days of Gordon B. Hinckley and the LDS Mormon Church with, let's not leave out the Triad Development Group there, from Lamar Terrace in uptown Houston, Texas, from the good old days of Iran-Contra. You know, moving all those weapons around takes a lot of dirty money, and, well, you got to launder it in the process. Ask Professor Black. He'll tell you about the great American laundry. And take some time and look over the information, the massive amounts of data and information at Toxic Zombie Developments. Toxic Zombie Developments is almost as good as Looted Stupid, or the Great American Laundry, or the Paper Land Con. The Paper Land Con and the Great Texas Bank Job. Boy, there's one that goes way back. The Great Texas Bank Job. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a pretty good intro on how the con is explained, and then explained again, and then explained some more. The con explained completely. There you go. There's the sequel. The con explained completely. There you go. Judson with them, 10-4, over and out. Hasta la vista. God bless, and you betcha, we're coming back.